wanted to ask Judy and Gary, when you put some of your work online, are you not worried about copyright infringement? Somebody just clicks and downloads and puts it on their site or whatever. Has that happened to you, and how would you approach that? Because you really are vulnerable when you put your work online.
I think if you want to put it on your internet or on your website, rather, then go for it. I find that the whole music industry quite interesting in that respect at the moment, because as you know, the idea of me, if I'm making my own personal work, if it's an illustration or something like that, I'm excited about showing people. This is the power of Instagram. You know, we're show-offs. That's what we do. We want to show people. No, you're not on a show-off. I
Coined a new term, share wolves. Remember it. You heard it here first.
So monetizing it, in some respects, is almost backward thinking, because you know I'm selling an idea, a brand in a way. So if people want to go and kind of take an image, am I worried about them claiming it as their own? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, stealing it, copyright theft. I mean, my daughter downloaded Judy's buttons. I was thinking she wanted to put it in a project that she had for art, and I was thinking, I wonder what Judy would think about that. I mean, it could be.
I mean, I've been ripped off loads. I mean, I don't.
Banksy ripped you off.
Right, exactly. No, that's not true. But certainly, you know, there is a certain high street shop that I walk past every once in a while, at least twice a year, and I know exactly where they got their latest window. And it's frustrating to see something copied so directly and shamelessly. But they're also a client, so you can't really you can't make.
It's just bad karma.
Exactly. What are you saying?
I mean, I'm not running out of ideas. Have them.
Exactly.
Have some more while you're about it. Why don't you?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
And that's exactly how I feel about it. At the same time, you know, if you are going to be making things and you are lucky enough to have them on show, then people are going to nick a certain amount of them, and that's like they say. It's
but you're not in the charity business. Don't you want to earn your part of it?
No. Well, yeah, of course, but I'm a terrible businessman, so
technology, a lot of it is so much to do with the exchange in like the software world. It's all built on exchange, and actually economically, they've done surveys that fashion is one of the industries that shares the most, generally speaking. But it's actually what makes it so much bigger economically. And there's always been that freedom of cut, paste, copy. And I think Judy's right. I mean, and that's what makes the great part of fashion amazing. It's run by people like, how they have another idea. They're just more focused on their forward.
Lauren, I know you have a different view. Do you feel comfortable talking about your view?
Idea. So, our images have been used everywhere, which is fine. I don't mind my images of my work being used or copied. What happened to us very recently was that a huge online store, if not the biggest, took our logo and our name and slapped it on a lot of T-shirts and sold it. And I didn't know until I saw someone walking down the street in it. And, it had no relevance to them. We're a small brand. Somebody had obviously picked it up and put it on a T-shirt. Luckily for us, we spent a lot of money at the beginning of our brand copywriting our logo. So we're taking them to court because it's such a blind, it's identical.
Is that an expensive proposition, taking them to court?
We'll win because it's complete, direct. Like, it literally is the same font, the same layout, the circle, the unseen. It's it's foolproof, of which they'll pay for fees if we win. And we will, but that journey of it, our brand's a year and a half old, was something that really was hard to learn. So who do you go to? We didn't have legal representatives because we're not that big. So, it's kind of scary in one sense, but when it comes to image use, that promotes your brand. So if somebody else is using your image or they're making stuff like yours, Judy says, you always have more ideas. So that kind of is a compliment. But when someone directly sort of, takes it, is a bit tricky.
Ludo.
Believe it or not, we actually, I've seen buildings that are literally copied out of entire blocks. We did a project in China, actually, in Shanghai, and the image of the building, the renderings that we were publishing, were literally taken. And that's again because of this idea of the digital tool, how easy and accessible they are. Now there are actually studios that are literally taking images, and because it's so easy to rebuild them digitally, they actually managed to recreate the project, and they build it in the same city. And what they did is they actually completed the building before we finished our own. So they clone an entire building. And that's about the idea of the digital tools that are becoming manneristic, if you want. So it's very easy to reproduce things that you see, to access the information, and then at a certain point you find yourself looking at two buildings that are 100,000 square meters, and it takes 2-3 years to build them, and at a certain point the copy comes out even before the original one is completed, obviously with less quality, less detail, a lot of unresolved issue, but out of 2-3 images, now you're able to literally reproduce an entire built space, which is somehow crazy if you think about it.
I think on that note, we've run out of time. So thanks everybody for showing up, and a huge thanks to this incredible panel. And thanks to the BFC for allowing us to have this discussion. So have a good day, everybody.